Hello, I'm Jashikins, and welcome to another episode of Jash Reads. Tonight, we will be continuing reading Animorphs number 9, The Secret by Kay Applegate. And again, this video is not intended for children. This is intended for adults who are revisiting Animorphs, or maybe adults who are discovering this series for the first time as adults. So, whatever the case may be, let's get started for a nice, happy chapter. It's a queen. I could feel her power. This was her world. These were all her slaves. More than slaves, they, they had no will of their own. I knew who I was again, but I felt weak and pathetic. I was unable to control the termite body I was in. That body belonged to her. She had orders for me. Protect the egg-carrying worker termites. The orders came in smells and vague feelings, but they were impossible to refuse. Rachel? I called. Marco? Axe? It was Rachel's thought-speak voice. Oh, no! Rachel, it's the Queen. She's controlling us, I said. I can't. My body, it just... Marco, can you hear me? Marco! She's got me. I can't say no. I can't stop. He cried in anguished response. My own body motored away on its 6 legs. I fell in step behind 2 workers. Each was carrying one of the gooey, precious eggs. I had to protect them. There might be enemies. We walked along the grotesque length of the Queen, toward her head. Ants. They were the enemy. Sometimes they came. Sometimes they poured down the tunnels, looking for the eggs to carry them off for food. Sometimes they attacked the Queen herself. The soldiers fought them. The soldiers sometimes died fighting them. The Queen, Rachel's voice said. The only way, destroy the Queen. It was like an electric jolt in my mind. Get rid of the Queen. Yes, the only way. They wouldn't be expecting that. There would be no one to stop me. But my body was not my own. I could not make it. The 2 workers plodded along before me. I could feel their hind ends with my feelers, and I knew the Queen's head was just to my right. Just a half inch less. The Queen's head, feelers, eyes like an ant. One chance. Focus. I had to trick the termite mind. I had to draw on every ounce of my strength. If I failed, I would live out the rest of my life as a mindless slave of the termite queen. Now. Do it now. I swerved right. It was like moving through molasses. The Queen had ordered me to go after the workers, and I was disobeying. Ant. screamed the word in my own head. Ant. Destroy. Destroy. Destroy the ant. I clambered over a half-dozen termites who were tending the queen. I could feel my will weakening. I couldn't get rid of the queen. I had to kill. I had to kill an ant. That was my purpose, to keep ants away from the queen. I scampered toward the queen's head. I felt my antennae touch her. I opened my massive pincher jaws. Termites ran around insanely. They were racing out of control, lost, confused. For a moment, I did the same. The queen was gone. I think in some way I wanted to forget who I was, what I had done. I wanted to become one of the lost, panicked termites. We're free! We're out! Cassie, where are you? Get out of there! I heard a far-off voice cry. Was it Axe? Marco? Rachel? Demorph! I cried with my last shred of control. No, Cassie, no! A voice screamed in my head. You're inside a piece of wood! Demorph! I screamed again. Human! I wanted to be human again. Let me be human. Let me out of this place, out of this body. I grew. Walls pressed in around me. I filled the tunnel. I couldn't grow anymore. Trapped. Pain. Nothing but pain. I was a swollen, vast termite, larger than any queen. Huge. I couldn't grow anymore, and I couldn't stop. I was trying to become human again, to fit a human body into space no bigger than the inside of a walnut. Then, explosion. The walls opened up, splinters. Fresh air rushed across my hard termite skin. My head was free of the wood and growing, but my body was still trapped, squeezing with terrible pain. I had eyes now. They could see, but only dimly. I was still tiny, and in the air above me a huge blade as long as a passenger's jet slashed downward. The wood splintered again, and my body was free. I grew and grew. Arms, legs, my own head. I was on my knees on a wooden floor. Marco and Rachel stood over me. Axe had used his tail to slice open the wood. They had all escaped the colony. They had demorphed. It was dark in the room, but there were glowing red and green indicator lights, and there was a computer monitor showing neat screen saving. And there was a computer monitor showing neat screensaver triangles floating and reforming. Are you okay? Rachel asked. She bent down and put her hand on my shoulder. I gave her a hug. Then, just as suddenly, I pushed her away. Let me go. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Rachel was on me in a flash. She clamped her hand over my mouth. Marco grabbed my ankles and held them still. Cassie! Rachel hissed. Shut up! We're inside the building. We're in a side room, but we can hear people in the next room. I was beyond caring. I struggled and fought and tried to scream. Axe, whatever you can do with that computer, do it, Marco whispered urgently. Rachel and Marco held me pinned against the floor, and slowly, very slowly, my bunched muscles relaxed. I stopped fighting. Are you okay now? Rachel asked. Okay. I would never be okay again. But I nodded my head anyway. Rachel took her hand away from my mouth. It's over, Cassie, Marco said. You saved us. It's over. And we have other problems now. I'm good, I said. I'm fine. But my skin was crawling. Evil, terrible memories were crowding in on me. I have access, Axe said. Accessing? Marco or Rachel? I need a human to help me understand the meaning of what I am seeing here. Marco climbed up off the floor. Rachel stayed with me. She was stroking my hair, like my mom would have done if I'd had a nightmare. It was hard to think of Rachel as being nurturing, but she did the right thing. I heard sounds in the next room, human voices, and Hork-Bajir, speaking their weird mix of their own native tongue and human speech they'd learned for duty on Earth. Some kind of commission? Marco mused, looking at the computer screen. 3 members, they vote on what happened to the forest. They decide if the logging can go forward. Datsun Lumber Company? Axe said. That's what the Yerks call this logging company? Very funny. What's funny? Marco asked. Taspin. It's a Yerkish word that means, well, never mind what it means. It isn't polite. Look at this document, Marco whispered. Preliminary permission to examine feasibility of... Hey! The Yerks don't have final permission to begin logging. There's this commission that still has to decide. 3 people. One has already said yes, probably a controller. One has voted definitely no. There's one guy left. Some guy named Ferrand. Yikes. What yikes? Rachel asked. Yikes, as in he's coming for a visit to check the scene, Marco said. End of the week. Then he'll vote. That guy votes yes. The Yerks are in business and we're in trouble. He'll vote yes, Rachel said darkly. I'm afraid that is true, Axe agreed. The Yerks will make him a controller. Not if we stop them, Marco said. One thing at a time. We need to get out of here, Rachel said. And we're not going back out the way we came in. No one argued with that. I am making a slight change in the programming that may let me access this computer from Marco's home computer. And I can temporarily shut down the defenses from this computer, Axe said. But there are still guards outside, and Hork-Bajir in the next room. Yeah, we'll have to move fast, Rachel said. Cassie, can you morph? Can you morph the wolf? I'll stay right beside you the whole time. Could I morph? The very idea made me sick. But even in my quaking fear, I knew anything was better than going back down into that termite colony. 5 minutes later, Axe turned off the outer defenses, and we ran from that building. I guess the Yeerks counted on their high-tech defenses too much. Without them, no one even shouted an alarm. By sheer dumb luck, we raced between the paths of 2 controller guards. No one yelled. No one fired a shot. We ran into the woods where Jake joined up with us. No one said much on the way home. And that's it for that chapter. Nice, happy times there. So Cassie is basically the pacifist of the group, the moral center. And she was the one who had the chance, who had the ability to kill the queen, the termite queen, and, save the rest of the Animorphs. Which, to some people, that's a very simple decision. Of course, it's an us or them sort of situation. But Cassie is very moral. She understands that nature's bloody, but at the same time, she doesn't like to kill or harm. And some Animorphs theories are that Cassie chose the wolf as the main battle morph because with it she has to really... While wolves are deadly, they're not the most deadly against, the aliens. So every time she makes a kill, it has to be deliberate. She wants to remember what she's done. And so with this, killing the termite queen for someone like her is actually extremely difficult. Because she's not just killing termite queen. It's not just one creature and that's it. It's also the fact that that entire colony, that she's basically condemning a shit ton of termites to death with that one action. So yeah, of course it affects her horribly. Of course she just has this adverse reaction where she just loses her shit. But yet she is still brave and strong enough to do that action when she knew she would loathe doing it. I mean, I know when people think of badass Animorphs characters, they're like, oh yeah, Rachel, when Cassie will bend her morality when she knows it's actually better for, humanity and the group. And this isn't Eve. And I can't say what, but I think everyone who's finished the series will know what I'm talking about. She does something that's one of the most sort of badass, most killer move in the entire series, and she does it hands down. And don't worry, I'll probably bring this up even if I forget saying I will, because it's just a really wow, just wow. But don't worry, that's sort of far in the future of the series, so yeah. And also Dapson, like, like this series can get away with genocide, cannibalism, self-cannibalism, more genocide, and yet it's like, oh yeah, we can't say this cuss word, so they say, oh yeah, it's a cuss word, it's an expletive, but we're not going to tell you. There's various theories on what, let me make sure I'm saying it, Dapson actually means. Some people think it means, fuck, because to us that is a really extreme expletive. Other people go into how the Yerk biology and the Yerk how Yerks rank each other to try to determine it. So there's a couple different theories, but yeah. And here's my question for the day. Comment below with your theory on what Dapsen means. We know it's an expletive, but what do you think it means? And also describe your reasoning for choosing the word you think Dapsen can be translated into. And also remember, if you have any comments or questions about this chapter, comment down below. Let me know. Let's start a nice nerdy conversation. And if you're watching this on the YouTube, oh yeah, and before I continue with the rest, please no major spoilers. I'm hoping against hope that people will get into the series via these videos. So there are some major twists and major turns that I don't want to be spoiled for all new readers. So yeah. And if you're watching this on the YouTubes, please remember to like this video if you just want to give Cassie the biggest hug, like hot chocolate, maybe some tea, cheesecake, whatever. Like the video for that. And also remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel because I will be reading not only this Animorphs book, but I will also be reading the rest of the series. If that interests you, subscribe. And also, if you're watching this on my blog and watching on the desktop version of my blog, please choose the follow by email option so you will never again miss anything I do on my blog. I just don't do these dramatic readings. I do reviews, mini reviews, fan fictions, a bunch of stuff, so don't want to miss out. And I hope you have a Yerk-free weekend, and I should be seeing you on Monday. Cheers!